Hello everyone and welcome. This is 2.0 Intro to FrameCAD Structure BSET. BSET stands for Border Setup, and as we get started with our projects, we typically set up our borders first. So in this exercise, we're going to learn about investigating wind loads for our project, seismic loads, and then setting up those borders. So the first thing we want to do, obviously, is open up FrameCAD Structure. The next thing we want to do is build up some good habits. File, Save As, and then we're going to find a location where we want to save our FrameCAD files. So let's put it right here next to our last one, and I'm also going to give it a good file name. This is assignment 2, Intro to FrameCAD Structure BSET. Okay, perfect. Actually, instead of calling it that, I'm going to call it. I want you guys to call it FCAD, just as an abbreviation for FrameCAD. Res, as in residential, and then project, and then put your initials, of course. So the date, FCAD residential project. We're going to actually be using this file over the rest of the semester, so we don't need to have a new file name for every single exercise we do each week, and then our initials. So I'm going to go ahead and say save. Now I've performed a file save as. I know exactly where I'm saving it, and I also know the name of it. So the first thing we're going to do is do a little bit of site research. So when we start a new layout, one of the first things you must do in FrameCAD Structure is set up the drawing sheet. This step accomplishes the following. It creates the necessary borders needed to begin design. It inputs the project information, the client information, and the company information. It sets what units will be used. That's very important. This is the one and only time that you can really set those units. So if you mess this part up, you're going to have to start the whole file over again. And this is going to affect the rest of the semester. So please pay good attention to what units you choose during this exercise. We're also going to do inputs based on what design codes we want to apply, and then we're going to apply various values for different design loads based on the location of the proposed design. Now, before we can configure our border settings, we need to do some research on the wind and seismic loads in our project location, which in this case we'll just say is Orange Coast College. So the first website we're going to navigate to, and this should be linked in the handout, is ASCE 7 hazard tool dot online. Okay, go ahead and close this little dialog box. For the address, just go ahead and search Orange Coast College if you don't know the address for the school. And as you begin to put this in, a couple of possibilities will pop up. Let's choose the best one. I'm just going to click search and see what happens. Okay, perfect. So it sets me right here in this OCC area. I'm going to agree to the cookies down here. We're going to choose our risk category, and we're going to set this risk category to 2. For our site soil class, we're going to choose default. And for the measurements, we're going to keep it at customary. And then for the load types, what we're seeking here is just the wind load types, and then just hit view results. And when you do that, you'll get these results based on the elevation. We're 65 feet with respect to the North American vertical datum of 1988. This is our latitude and longitude. We have our risk category, soil class, and then right there where it says wind, it says 95 VMPH. If I click on overlay, I'll get this nice little diagram showing wind loads for this general area. So in structure, what we're going to do is we're going to actually bump this number up, right? So it says 95. we're going to use a wind load of 110 miles per hour just as our datum. Any projects that we're doing, if we get a wind load of under 110, we're just going to assume 110. So that's good to know. And then another website I'm going to navigate you all to is called seismicmaps.org. And again, for this, we're going to search Orange Coast College. Okay. And, oops, I forgot to set this to 716. Risk categories to default for the soil class. Now let's hit go again. And now we're getting some more information, more pertaining to the seismic calculations and loads of this general area. And there's only a couple of values that we're looking for here that we're interested in is these two right here. Numeric seismic design value, numeric seismic design value at 1.0 seconds. So what this is just we're recording a 0.2 second spectral response and a 1 second spectral response. So those are the only things we need to know for our project based on its location. So with that information in mind, I'm going to navigate back to FrameCAD Structure. Here I am in Structure. Here's the file that I'm working on. In the Structure drop-down menu, under Settings, we're going to find BSET Border Setup. Go ahead and click that. I want you to go ahead and enter our company name. I put OCC Architecture. Feel free to use whatever fictional business or real business that you might have. We're going to add our drafter name. I am now going to go by Teva Crowley, and then I'll put today's date. So let's do, oh, actually that is today's date, just scrambled around. You can add a job number, project name. You can add the location. For now, I'm going to go ahead and set this to 001. Project name, let's call this one FCAD Res Project. Okay. And the location, Orange Coast College. This will be a fictional FrameCAD structure we create for the OCC campus. And then quantity and row. Quantity and row have to do with how many borders we're going to have and how they're organized into a number of rows. So I'm going to say I want 8 borders. Every border is basically like a sheet of paper, a title block. We'll get into that soon. You'll see it soon. And then I'm going to organize it by 2 rows. Sheet size, I want to set to 17 by 11. My border name. Now you're only going to have 2 options, BR blank border and BR FrameCAD. Okay, I have my own custom border, which I'll show you how to make later on in the semester. But for now, let's just keep it at, I'll keep it at BR FrameCAD, which is what you should all have. And then make sure your units type is set to imperial units. This is the most important part of this exercise. This will affect your file moving on throughout the rest of the semester. Do not skip this part. Set this to imperial. Do not use metric. I can't emphasize it enough. And then border scale has to do with what architectural scale we'll be viewing our drawing at. That scale is going to be 3/16 of an inch to a foot. Okay, so that's the ratio we're going to use. Okay, and then our text height. I'm going to just type in 180. And then detail sheet ratio, I also want that at imperial. Dark background or light background, I'm just going to keep it at dark. All right, and then the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to navigate to the Options tab. We're going to navigate to Reference Options, Primary Color. Change the number of the primary color to be 130. Oops. Oh, that's right. We have to click this little ellipse over here and change the number here to 130. Click OK. And then the secondary color, we're going to change to 75. Visibility level should be set to 100. Print reference no. Layer name reference points. All right. I think that's all we want to do there. All right. And then engineering, I think we'll skip this part for now. So let's go ahead and click Insert. All right. What you should get as a result are, if I zoom out using my scroll wheel, I can see I'll have 8 borders. These are your borders. They're 8 sheets of digital paper. They are 8 title blocks. These are our viewing ports, in our layouts here, in our layouts tab. So all of our drawings are going to be drawn here inside of these borders at a very specific architectural scale. 3/16 is equal to a foot. Okay, and then the way they're all numbered is very specific. If you zoom in, you'll see right here it says view name, and it's kind of squished, and this is why I don't like this default title block. All this information, especially if your file name is very long like mine, gets squished into the view name. But if you look really closely, there's a 1 and an 8. This is sheet 1 of 8. I know it's hard to read. You're just going to have to trust me. And then zooming out and zooming in here, this is 2 of 8. And this is 3 of 8. And this is 4 of 8. And this is 5 of 8, and 6 and 7 and 8 of 8. Okay. If I had to show you all visually via a big piece of text, I could do it like this. Height of text. Let's make it 50 feet tall, 0, and we'll call it 1. All right. This part you don't need to do, so don't worry about copying this right now. I'm just going to create a visual for us. Okay. All right, and then I'm quickly going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to copy it from this point to that point. Again, you don't have to follow me. You don't have to do this part. I'm just going to copy, copy, copy. So this, I'm going to change to 2. Escape, escape. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. All right. So if I had to create a visual for you all, this is basically every page name or page number. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. I'm going to teach you a very important command, and moving forward, we're going to call this like a quick navigate. So to quickly navigate between different borders, you're going to type in V, hit enter, and then you're going to pick one of these numbers. You have 8 sheets or 8 borders. Let's say we travel to number 8. I'm going to hit 8 and hit enter, and that centers border number 8 right there. V, enter 2, enter, V, enter 4, enter, V, enter 6, enter. And that's just a quick way for you to navigate between borders. And this is going to be really essential because as we begin to 3D model our structure, we actually need to be doing it in very specific borders. And this is the way you tell FrameCAD Structure, hey, I want to 3D model in border number 6, so therefore I will quick navigate to border number 6. All right. Now, I'm going to double click on the middle wheel button, which will zoom out to the full extent to show everything that I have here. I'm going to move my cursor to the bottom left over here, and I'm going to type in BSET. Okay. And from there, I want you to take a screenshot of this whole entire screen. Actually, I'm going to remove all this text so as not to confuse you all with the screenshot. BSET. Okay. And this is what your screenshot is going to look like when you turn it into me. Okay, if you need some help on how to screenshot, go and watch one of my videos, which will teach you how to screenshot. And you're going to submit that screenshot to me. And what this is going to show me is that, one, you've named your file properly. I'm going to see it right here. You've got the date done properly. There's a proper title and your initials. I'm going to see you have 8 borders in the background. I'm going to look at these settings here to make sure you got everything right, including changing everything to imperial. Okay, and that's how you're going to turn in the assignment. Now, if you need help on how to turn in an assignment on Canvas, you can go ahead and watch my video on how to do that. The only file types I will take for assignments are JPEG, JPG, and PNG. Okay, so please learn how to screenshot. Please learn how to save those files. Even those screenshots, you should save those files with the correct filing name and make sure you put those screenshots in a place where you can find them later, because I will be checking later on in the semester. All right. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section down below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.